Hey, what's up guys? UrAvgWarGamer is back with another video of World of Warships. And today, I'm going to be reviewing the Russian Tier 9 premium cruiser, and that is Kozma Minin. This ship is actually very interesting in some of the stats because it's actually very much similar in its hull compared to Donskoi, which is a Tier 9 Tech 3 light cruiser. It's also a light cruiser, but unfortunately I have to say that in order to make premiums really good, they're trying to really make ships like Donskoi an example, a blatant example of power creep. But I would say in 2024 standards, the Donskoi should be like Kozma Minin. And that's exactly what this premium is about. It's almost straight up better than Donskoi in many ways. Let me explain why it is such a blatant example of that. First of all, it's having a Donskoi hull, okay? And that might sound to be pretty much similar, right? But a lot of the characteristics, like for example, it has 8 guns. Now, 8 guns might look pretty inferior compared to Donskoi guns, which are 12. But again, these are 203mm guns, 204mm guns if I'm not wrong, which means that they can have better penetration than Donskoi itself, right? But in fact, it has actually a lot better penetration than Donskoi. Donskoi has 30mm pen. Kozma Minin has 51mm HE pen. Now that is a big threshold that Kozma Minin is catching up at this tier, because there are a lot of German battleships like FD Crusier, Minin, and there are a couple of other ships that have this 51mm deck armor. Mostly some Russians as well, like for example the Vladivostok as well as the Lenin. They also have around 50mm-ish armor, so you can actually able to penetrate their decks straight up with this really good HE pen. But you might be thinking that it should be having some downside. Well, it has 12% less HE DPM and fires. And now that makes it kinda balanced, right? But the thing is that I would take 12% less HE DPM, okay? Because if you are getting a built-in IFHE, which you can absolutely find on these German heavy cruisers like Hipper class cruiser, like Prinz Eugen Hipper. Basically, this is having those similar German characteristics gun on a Russian hull, because that's what Kozma Minin is about. Okay, but not only that, it also has 27% better AP DPM. So HE DPM is low, but AP DPM is significantly better. Okay, you have almost 6,195 maximum damage. So that's a good alpha right there. And this is straight up better, I would say. I would prefer the really good AP that you can actually get on this ship than Donskoi. I mean, the thing about the Donskoi is, I would say that it has definitely better shell velocity at ranges, but I would say it's not too bad. You can see here this Odin have, I think, 45mm of deck armor or something like that, and you can able to see that how much penetration that I'm getting. Almost every single shell that I'm hitting, 90% of them are straight up penetration. Why? Because of 51mm penetration. So it is sort of built-in IFHE like on the German cruisers. So it's having that huge advantage, okay? Also, one more advantage of the Kozma Minin is that you have seen I popped the radar on that Akatsuki before, and 33 seconds of radar with fully built in is very powerful, okay? And also the fact that you have 30mm deck armor compared to 27mm on Donskoi, and 27mm side armor compared to Donskoi's, I think, 25mm. That is a better, straight up better Donskoi hull compared to Donskoi itself. Like Kozma having just straight up better armor, it can actually able to tank quite a bit against 406mm guns because of having this 30mm deck armor. And you can basically be immune to those guns that found on Bismarck, Alsace, and John Bart, okay? And now you can see here what I'm talking about. I was talking about the good penetration of AP, actually able to citadel the Ipiranga, but Ipiranga usually gets citadel rarely, but the AP DPM, you will be able to find out it is pretty devastating. And you can see here, I'm just chunking him for at least 10k volleys. It also, not only having a better armor than Donskoi, it actually have an extra consumable, that is engine boost. Now Kozma with engine boost can go upwards of 40 knots. You cannot do that in Donskoi. It's not possible. And with the speed boost, you can actually reposition yourself relatively quickly, like I'm doing here. I saw that this flank is sort of pretty much cleared up, like no battleship is pushing, because that's the strength of literally this Kozma. Because if you can farm any ship on around 16-17 kilometers, if they are pushing you, you will just set fires upon fires. If they are angled, you can shoot HE. If they are not angled, you can always use AP. It's really, really powerful in that regard, okay? And you also have this 8% engine boost, which you can just speed juke ships pretty well. Like the speed juking capability of Kozma Minin is just straight up better than Donskoi because of that extra engine power that you have. And obviously the better speed. Also, the good thing about the Kozma, it has 3%, or I would say 3-degree better firing angles than Donskoi. So Kozma also have really better firing angles than Donskoi itself, is again a huge advantage. You can able to bounce shells a lot because of that. You can able to use that 30mm deck armor effectively, because you will just quickly able to angle, because the front and back firing angles of Kozma is actually 27-degree firing angles, which is very, very nice, to be honest, if you ask me. I already talked about the 51mm HE pen. Well, there's another thing that basically makes Donskoi just a sad and not really 2024 standard ship, and that is airstrike ASWs. Well, it has plane based ASWs, which means that you can just drop by not using the built-in ship ASW attacks. You can just use this 7-kilometer range, which might be low, but it is definitely way better than ship-based ASW that you find on Donskoi. That is a massive improvement. I don't understand that why Wargaming is not giving the Donskoi the better plane-based ASW. That's kind of baffling to me. But unfortunately, that is the case. Also, one more thing that you should be keeping in mind, that it has 0.7 kilometer better range. Donskoi has 7.8 or 7.7 kilometer firing range. Kozma has 18.5 kilometer firing range. So again, this firing range is slightly, I would say, quality of life improvement. But I would say in tier 10 and super ships matchmaking, even that much firing range is such a blessing, because it's not easy to just farm those really powerful high caliber battleships at ranges. So Kozma also have improved firing range, okay? Also, let's talk about the torpedoes as well quickly, because I'm just giving you a review. I can give you the captain skill and upgrades at the end. It has 6-kilometer firing range. Again, seems to be not really that good compared to 8 kilometers firing range on Donskoi, right? This is something that you might be say, it's actually bad, right? But no, that's not the case. I mean, how many times you find 8-kilometer torpedoes to be usable against those battleships that are pushing you? I think I didn't able to find that much of a time when I able to do that myself. And I would say that 6-kilometer torpedoes with 24.5% hit harding power, which means that it has better alpha damage on these torpedoes, 6-kilometer torpedoes, than compared to Donskoi. I would say they are a lot better in YOLOing ships. You give me 6-kilometer, I don't mind. But if you give me those alpha strike damage, like it has 17,000 alpha, if I can show you quickly, it has almost 18,000 alpha damage on these torpedoes. So you know that these torpedoes will hurt, and you can almost dev strike at least a more than half HP battleship with those torpedoes, right? So that is a big thing. Like, it has 5 torpedoes on each side, so massive improvement for me. Even though it might be only 6 kilometers, I think it's worth it. So this is what Kozma Minin is about. It has better HE alpha. I won't say better HE alpha. It has better HE pen. It has 12% less, HE DPM. But still, I love that they have given this German characteristics and Russian consumables. The best of all those things into one. Like both characteristics of German and Russian into one is insane. But you can get it on Kozma Minin, and in fact that you have a speed boost, radar, and a heal, which you typically get on Donskoi, is really valuable in my opinion. I feel this is a straight up better ship than Donskoi. It's literally power creeping, and really what basically makes Kozma Minin a truly Donskoi 2024, right? And you can see here, with a lot of these shells, I'm able to just kill the Hipper, and that's the power of these guns. Very good AP alpha as well, with really good HE pen. So that's what Kozma Minin is about. I mean, I can maybe show you a couple of more gameplays, maybe at some point later, but I would say it's a lot much more powerful. And you can clearly see, even with this tag, Red October tag, or I would say bounty tag that I have in Kozma Minin, I can tank up quite a lot of damage because of that insane speed boost and speed juking capabilities that you can have on Kozma. So definitely really, really powerful. Let me show you the captain skills as well as the upgrades real quick. So now you can able to see Kozma Minin in port. It looks pretty nice, beautiful ship with this permanent camouflage that you can have 2 of them. If I can show you in the exterior, you have 2 special permanent camouflage that are default on Kozma Minin itself. One is this one, which looks kind of a grayish or whitish sort of, which I actually like compared to the other one, which is on the darker side. I think this seems to be not to my taste, but you can just either choose any of them. That's totally up to you. But let's talk about the upgrades. Now, Kozma is basically almost Donskoi, as you have seen in the game. It's actually really strong cruiser, without a shadow of doubt. Let me show you the armor real quick. So you can see here, the armor, bow armor is pretty much 25mm, which is definitely going to be vulnerable against 380mm shells and above. But the biggest difference compared to Donskoi is this hull. That is deck armor. 30mm deck armor and 27mm castmate armor. That is a big jump over. I won't say big jump, but that definitely a better overall armor than the Donskoi itself. You won't find 30mm deck armor on Donskoi, but you can get it on Kozma. So that makes it better. You can bounce a lot of those 406mm guns, which you will typically find a lot at tier 10. The guns are really nice. The shell velocity, I won't say it's, I would say closer to those of Russians. The shell velocity at ranges seems to be a bit off, in my opinion. I find the Donskoi shells a lot much more comfortable to use, but these guns are still not bad at all. You can see here you have 13% fire chance, 8.4 seconds of reload time, which basically makes it to around 12% less HE DPM that I have talked about. But then the HE penetration capacity is 51mm, which is a big threshold. You are getting onto those armor pen levels which you typically find on those heavy cruisers like in the Alaska, Kronstadt, Stalingrad, Yoshino, Azuma, Aegir. All those cruisers have this 51mm pen, and you can get it on this Kozma Minin. AP DPM, very nice, almost 400k. I won't say 400k, but it's definitely very on the higher side. HE DPM is also not too bad, but you can see here, even though it has less HE DPM, but then you also get better HE pen, which is, I would say, a better trade-off compared to, Donskoi. Torpedoes, hard hitting. You can see here 5 on each side, and reload time is also significantly better, even though it has slightly less range. But these are better torpedoes in my opinion, because these torpedoes are used best when you are trying to YOLOing a battleship that is around the corner, around the island, I would say. Anti-defense is nothing too special. It's almost similar, but the better airstrike is definitely a huge quality of improvement. So concealment is almost the same. Maneuverability is almost the same, I think. But yeah, that's basically about it. Kozma Minin, in my opinion, is a really, really good ship. Let me explain the commander skills. So I have put the Nikolai Kuznetzov, definitely a very much recommended captain. You can use this build. I'm using it on all the heavy cruiser like Moscow, Kronstadt, Stalingrad, Petropavlovsk. So you can just find this build to be pretty viable even on Kozma Minin itself. Better AP Alpha does help with this AP DPM that it already has really good. Also this consumable specialist, which help a lot in enhancing the consumables reload time. It usually gets to 7.5%, but with this improved consumable specialist, you can get down to 10%, which is nice. Improved threat traverse, top grade gunner, definitely improving when you pop the radar against destroyers. So definitely pretty powerful Kozma Minin here. On the upgrade side, I will definitely recommend you to use main armaments mod 1, surveillance radar mod 1. Again, aiming system mod 1 is definitely better, but because dispersion, I would say, because of only 8 guns, can be a bit wonkier sometimes. That's what I felt, even though it's basically a cruiser dispersion, but still. You have to use propulsion mod 1 on the 4th slot, concealment, and at the end you use main battery mod 3. So this is what Kozma Minin really is. In my opinion, I would say it is straight up better Donskoi, and having an engine boost definitely increases up a lot of survivability. The improved hull armor that you cannot find on Donskoi and you're finding in this ship also makes it really better. So there are so many things to talk about, and I would say I almost have talked about everything that I need to talk about. So that's basically it. Yeah, I mean 18.5 kilometer fighting range is definitely impressive as well. So I mean, should you really spend your money and try to buy this ship? I won't say that you should do it, because there are some cruisers, maybe, like if you have Aegir is a good alternate, I would say, compared to Kozma Minin. It's also available for coal. So there's also Azuma, which you are also having some really comfortable shell arcs. Like, it's not like the shells of Aegir and Azuma, those having pretty good guns still regardless, but Kozma Minin adds something which is radar. And if you are really looking forward to counter destroyers and having more game impact in general, I think this ship is really good. If you are a lover of Donskoi and you want some little bit of a different taste, Kozma Minin is definitely going to be for you. Otherwise, spending money is not something that I would recommend to do it, but totally up to you. I would say it's really powerful and it's a fun ship. I mean, I have regular 100k damage in this ship. I won't say like 200k, but 100k is definitely very much possible. More than even 100k sometimes, like 120k, 130k is definitely on the possibility in this ship. So what do you guys think? I just want to give you the review of Kozma Minin. If you want more games, please let me know. I will try to post the games of Kozma Minin even more, even though there are some other alternatives that you should look at. Just like I said, there is Aegir and also Alaska. Alaska is not available, but yeah, Azuma is there. So those are also pretty decent alternate compared to Kozma, but they don't have radar. So that is one thing that you should be keeping in mind. So thank you guys for watching. I just want to give you a short review of Kozma Minin. And if you are really looking forward to that ship, please let me know in the comment. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.